Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, quick advertisement, self-promotion at the beginning here. The new channel, Restoring Joseph Smith's Church of Christ, has a new video, not the introduction, but the first video. It is called Joseph Smith Theology, God Amen. So I go over. If you're watching, I guess you can say that you're involved with Joseph Smith's God, Christ. There are lots of similar information that I've put on TWG and Travis Wayne Goodsell. It's just in a different context. But there's also some exclusive material never before released. So, yeah. The video will not be put on TWG and Travis Wayne Goodsell. So only those interested can watch it. But of course, Mormons are haters, as there's already a thumbs down on that channel with the introduction. Even when I said in the video that Mormons just cannot leave other religions alone, they cannot allow religious freedom for others. It's just the way Mormons are. They hate. They are born and bred to hate. And even when they leave the church, they hate. And so this topic for this video, which could go on that other one, but I need to bash the church. So it's going on the regular channels. Is what happens to a fallen prophet. Mormon doctrine, which comes from the Book of Mormon, says that God can cease to be God by failing to follow universal law. And it's love. Spoiler alert, there's only one law for all eternity, for all the universe. It's love. When you love, you don't hate. You don't go to a Mormon who no longer wants to be Mormon's channel on YouTube and put a thumbs down just to show him, you don't seek to murder him. You don't send him death threats. You don't ruin his life by hacking his computer and toying with his apps. Those are not love. You don't steal. You don't lie with fallacy arguments to defend the church. Love. When you're loving somebody, you're honest and open. You don't use double-worded speech. You don't change definitions. You don't contradict yourself just to prove your self-fulfilling prophecy. You love, not hate. And as I've gone over in another video, if you are claiming that you have levels of love and you're trying to be more perfect in love, no, you're a hater. You have not obtained it, you therefore do not love. You have levels of hate, and you need to get rid of those before you can claim that you love. So, yeah, for example, Russ. Been helping him, even though I'm out of the church. I don't hate people. I don't hate Mormons. But they do need to be held accountable. And he chose to attack me when I came to help him that one morning. And so he doesn't get my help anymore because he has to be held accountable. That's a thing that people do not understand. And so he's never apologized for using Mormonism to attack me. As he knows, born and raised Mormon, and he refuses to accept it. He purposely name-called me to justify his hatred and anger and threats of violence towards me, as it was uncalled for. I was helping him. I didn't provoke anything. I came knocking on his door. Hey, I've got something else that will help you with what you're doing. And he chose to attack, reject my help, as I've been doing for years for him. And so he's never bothered to apologize and make restitution for what he had done. Just refuses. He doesn't see that he did anything wrong. That is Mormons for you. So what do you do when a prophesied prophet falls? Because he can fall. You know, the current prophets claim they're infallible. We will never lead the church astray. How many videos have I done now that indicate how they've led the church astray? Yeah, that's a blatant lie. They cannot tell us the truth. Not about church history, not about doctrine, not about theology, not about scripture, not about administration, nothing. And so this deals with administration. And it's even prophesied that the latter-day prophet will fall. Deuteronomy 18, right from the words of the author claiming to be Moses, which Joseph Smith refers to for the earlier part. Hint, hint, Nephi. I went over it in this video. That was the rehashing of new context for old material. And verse 20 is where it begins. Wait a minute. Yeah, 20. But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak. False prophet. Or that shall speak in the name of other gods. You know, like Jesus. Exclusive material for you, if you're interested. Even that prophet shall die. What? And so, in chapter 19, immediately following, and remember, they didn't have chapter and verses in the original papyrus scrolls. It was all part of the same string. And so, continuing with the false prophet, verse 16, if a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord. And it's the true prophet before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. Not the Spanish Inquisition. No, no, no. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. This is where I get the saying, that which you falsely accuse in another reveals the same and worse fault in yourself. Because of my understanding and experience and fruit, that this precept, as well as this the comparable precept in Matthew 7, By their fruits ye shall know a false prophet, and thus be able to judge whether they're good or evil. And so this is an important precept in understanding how to replace a fallen prophet. Because a fallen prophet makes false claims to be the prophet. And of course, all priesthood holders, and some women know about section 121, many are called but few are frozen, that any degree of unrighteousness, and amen to your authority as a priesthood leader. It applies to prophets as well. Benson was wrong when the living prophet will never lead us astray. They can. And they have. Now, Joseph Smith also tells us that there will be a latter-day false prophet. Isn't that interesting? From his own organization, he says there will be a false prophet. Huh. Who would have thought? How would he know? Is there some Doctrine and Covenants passages missing from our Doctrine and Covenants that might be found in, hint, hint, the Joseph Smith papers, hint, hint, that might give us a clue of somebody whom he was calling Judas? Hint, hint. Section 85 was put in the year before Brigham Young died. So it's exclusive to the Brighamite Church. Others are aware of it. I think the Community of Christ is aware of it, I think, due to the times and seasons that this was originally in. I'm not sure. I don't know how to get access to their Doctrine and Covenants. If any of my Community of Christ followers, viewers, subscribers are watching and you're hearing this, can you help me out with getting your version of the Doctrine and Covenants, please? I appreciate it. Thank you. It has the original coding, by the way. Coding? What? What are you talking about, Travis? There's no code in the Doctrine and Covenants. Nothing's coded. Joseph Smith didn't code anything. Everything is literally true and literally history. So, verse 8 of section 85 is a follow-up to the replacement of fallen prophets, because it gives us the replacement in accordance with the passage I just read to you. And so as Brigham Young put it in right before he died, as well as changing monogamy to polygamy, removing the monogamy chapter, and removing gutting, section 131, so that it only had the everlasting covenant, new and everlasting covenant, so that we're assuming it must be polygamy that is now 132 in our ordering. Section 132 was not put in anywhere, not in Joseph Smith's history, not in the times and season. It just magically appeared the year before Brigham died. Ta-da! Here it is! Oh yeah, Joseph had it secret. It was a sacred secret all the way back to 1831, when the angel with wings and swords and flames threatened him to start polygamy openly, or he would be immediately stricken down. How many years later? 13? That's immediately? Okay. So, yeah, that's what this did. Is that section 132 and the justification with the hearsay claims that Joseph Smith had been visited by the angel to smite him if he didn't practice polygamy, was all false accusations, false witnesses against Joseph Smith, who's dead and can't defend himself. And so here we have section 85. This is what Brigham Young, having falsely accused Joseph Smith, now claims to have done to Joseph Smith to justify Brigham Young taking over. While that man, Brigham, intends that to mean Joseph Smith, who was called of God and appointed, that putteth forth his hand to steady the ark of God, which is his job and duty, not the other guys in reference to Ezra, who were not authorized. They could carry it as long as they only touched the wood that was stuck between the whole post things to carry the ark. They did not have authority to touch the ark, only the high priest, and in this particular case, the president of the church. And so he's claiming the president of the church, Joseph Smith, was not authorized to steady the ark of God. Shall fall by the shaft of death, like as a tree that is smitten by the vivid shaft of lightning. That is the punishment that Brigham Young had set up for Joseph Smith by putting it the year before he died, along with his false accusation of Joseph being a polygamist. Shall I go over Deuteronomy again for you? About false witnesses? The replacement for Joseph Smith is not Brigham Young. Brigham Young is the false witness who falsely accused Joseph Smith and had designated the punishment death. As I've gone over with you, Brigham Young, along with Heber C. Kimball, paid members of the Warsaw Freemason Lodge to murder Joseph Smith in Carthage jail. Oh, was it 30 pieces of silver or 20? The governor of Illinois heard about it and immediately sent an order to those men not to do it, to stand down. They refused. They'd been paid. Brigham Young made sure to have 2 of his 12, John Taylor and Willard Richards, with Joseph and Hiram to make sure it got done. Joseph obtained a 6-shooter, as well as my 3rd great-grandfather's single-shot shooter. Oops, that wasn't supposed to be part of the plan. So the mob goes up the stairs. Their rifles are far too long, so they set them down outside. Went marching up the stairs. Joseph was there at the top waiting for them. Boom, boom, boom. They go running out, tending to the wounds of the 3. So how did Hiram fall then? Why then was Joseph turning back into the room and shooting somebody in the room 3 times? One time hitting him in his pocket watch. And then he ran under the bed as a coward. Oh yeah, John Taylor, huh? And then Willard Richards shot him in the back, as he had obtained his own 6-shooter, after learning that Joseph now had one. So when he went to go get the wine, he got a gun as well. So, yeah. Thus, the punishment has been designated by Brigham Young himself, as he's using the words of Joseph, as he's falsely accused him on top of that. Now, is there some other explanation for this? Yes. King Noah, remember him? He took over for his father who had died, Zeniff, who took a group and they went to the land of Nephi to restore the kingdom of Nephi. That's their land. How dare the Lamanites take it? And there's another one for you. Another example. But King Noah hired his own priests, fired all the previous ones of his father. And so these new priests were those who were going to support King Noah in his wickedness. You know, that's kind of a difficult thing to remove a false prophet if all his prophets are also wicked. Kind of difficult to get rid of them. And they falsely accused Abinadi and condemned him to die by fire. So that which they falsely accused and ordered the punishment for was the same punishment that King Noah received for being a false accuser. Burned to death. And so the other one is Nephi going to get the brass plates, not the gold plates in Egyptian. These were the brass plates, not as heavy as gold plates, not worth as much as gold plates. And Laban refused to give them up. Laman went in first as they, cast lots. Laban drew the short straw, the short rock, and the bones tell me nothing. And he goes in and says, yeah, my father's crazy. He wants the book. Will you give him to us? No. Get out. You're a thief. And then Nephi says, oh, well, let's try to buy him. We left all of our gold and silver behind. Let's buy the plates. Far overpriced for brass plates. Nonetheless, they went in to buy him, and Laban oopsied. He again accused them of trying to rob him and ordered the punishment of death. False accuser who issues a punishment to be affixed to the crime. So Nephi doesn't even go over it. I'm surprised. But that's according to the law of Moses from Deuteronomy 19. Laban had falsely accused them of stealing when they came to buy it. He could have just said no. Mormons could just say, no, I'm not interested in what Travis has to say. I'm leaving. I'm not going to watch his channel anymore. Nope. They have to attack. And so, yeah, Nephi is given the opportunity to get the plates and takes it. And so the punishment that Laban ordered for Nephi became that which he was consigned to. And so that's how it is. That's how you replace a fallen prophet. And so, yes, as I indicate, section 85 verse 7, as Brigham Young thought to claim verse 7 for himself, he instead is ordering his replacement, which had already been predetermined long before he even pulled his stunt. It was known from the pre-existence that Brigham Young was going to be bad. And Brigham Young made his choices, and now he has to rot in hell for them. And it wasn't immediate. It wasn't Brigham Young. It was Wilford Woodruff that the church finally was destroyed. The United States of America came in, shut it all down. Oh yeah, they didn't tell us that, did they, as we grew up in the church? You see, what happened was that in 1923, Heber J. Grant took it upon himself to be the successor of the church that no longer existed, and decided to reincorporate the church. Yeah, they don't tell us about that either. It's available. It's public documents. The Freedom of Information Act can be obtained, and persons have obtained them and have posted them all over the internet. So unless you're a Mormon and you don't search the internet for it, you're never going to find it. I've done the videos, shown you the documents, gone over them with you. And so yeah, that's not the proper process for starting up a church. It's just a church of man. It's no different than a Christian church. It is not the true church of Amen, Christ. And so all of these prophets, from Heber J. Grant up to Nelson, they're not true prophets. But they're making false accusations, aren't they? And they're issuing punishments, aren't they? But so far, only the FLDS church is getting punished, and the other church here in Utah that has scandals with a school that they're getting punished for, and they keep resisting and keep trying to get away with it. And then there's the Mexico church that has been, yeah, they got, oh man, they messed with the gangs, and the gangs messed them up. And then there's the Arizona one. Yeah, everybody but the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is getting punished by the law. What the hell? What does it take to bring down corruption? So, but it's prophesied to happen, and it's in accordance with Mosaic law. So, stay tuned. Pay attention to the news, despite Nelson telling you in conference last, stay away from the news. The coming days, perils, Travis is a traitor. He needs to kill himself, or we'll do it for him. At least we banned one of his videos. How dare he tell people to follow medical professionals? We'll ban him.